I always like to say I'm here not just on my own behalf, but I'm here on behalf of one very proud MP from Calgary, and that is the Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, and Kellie Leitch, who's our Minister of Labour and Minister for the Status of Women. And we have some absolutely phenomenal women in our Conservative caucus now, and we're seeing some really great stuff start to happen. With women, we've got people like Michelle Rempel, people like Lisa Rates of the Horne Institute. Recently, we had a roundtable. Some of you may have been here. Any here who were at the roundtable with Lisa Rate? A few of you, yeah. And Ronna Ambrose. I mean, we've really got some great leadership, and I'm really thrilled to be a member of the Status of Women Committee, which is helping to put some of these things through. So I'm also here with an absolutely amazing group of talented women and men. Thank you to the guys for being here tonight at this. And I really want to commend the Horne Institute and the Women in Supply Chain for your proactive efforts in responding to labor shortages in the industry and in the overall Canadian workforce. And especially it's nice to be here in this Finding the Courage to Lead series, because I think that is sometimes what it takes. We have the skills. We just have to find the courage to lead. So it's groups like this that help us realize, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. So it's great that we're here. And as you know, our federal government's top priority is job creation and economic growth. Because when we believe that people have a job and the economy is thriving, then all Canadians prosper. And that's really what we want. We want a high quality of life. We want to be able to make decisions and have a great place to work and raise our family. So we also want to ensure that every Canadian who wants to work has the opportunity to have a job. And by the way, I wanted to just say about the supply chain management, I think this is a little secret club, because there's more and more women I'm finding in supply chain management, and they are awesome at it. And they're so organized, and everywhere I go, I'm hearing more about what your contribution is to this field. And I was over at this table with a bunch of WestJetters just before, and you know what they said? Well, it's easy. It's like shopping. You just go and you make lists, like your laundry list and your shopping list, and then you make sure it all happens. But this is a field where you guys can kick, because it is one that is perfectly suited to women, our organizational abilities. Not that men can't do it very well, you can too, but in this kind of a job climate where we're looking for skilled trades for women, this is a perfect one for women to be expanding in. So as we look for every Canadian to have an opportunity to have a job and have a quality job, we want them to have the opportunity to use their skills and abilities. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. And many Canadians do face barriers in our workforce, so we have to be realistic about that. But that means that many employers are actually missing out on a great workforce that they could be using. And we've identified 4 groups of people in Canada that are underemployed right now, and we want to do something about that. And that is women. It's people with disabilities, members of visible minorities, and Aboriginal peoples. So those are people who are all underrepresented in the workforce that we're definitely working to be able to help advantage. And we want to use that to help grow Canada's economy. So through the Labour program, we promote things like equitable representation for women, people with disabilities, visible minorities, and Aboriginals. We encourage employers in federally regulated workplaces to diversify their workforce and draw from all the available talents. You'll notice I said encourage, because we don't believe in setting hard and fast quotas. Many of you may have worked in environments where there are quotas, and they can tend to work against us, right? People say, oh, you're just here because there's a quota. So we encourage employers to look at why they want to hire more women in their workforce. And we want it to become a way of thinking, as a way of doing business. It's more than just a legal or a moral imperative to act, because as we know, and I'm sure this group does, there are some really practical reasons why you want to have more women in your workforce. It is good for productivity, and it's good for business. So I'm sure you all know that there are many authoritative studies now that are coming out from several countries in the world that are showing that when you have more women in your workforce, and specifically more women in management, your company makes more money. And that is a wonderful imperative to be able to take to employers and companies. This is money in the bank. You represent money in the bank for companies when they get more women in their ranks of senior management. It will contribute to all of Canada's prosperity and will also enable our country, when we're facing skills shortages, to be able to take advantage of this diverse talent pool. So today, I'm here because I have the opportunity of making an announcement. And I'm delighted to announce that there is a grant coming of $125,000 to the Horne Institute, and this will be for its Building Inclusive Workplaces project. Now, I think Horne is going to have some fun with this too. Peter usually finds a way to do that anyway. But this will be working with academics. Horne Institute will work with academics and industry to identify what barriers are out there and look for solutions and best practices to be able to create inclusive workplaces. It will involve establishing the steering committee with Western Canadian stakeholders who are going to lead a series of workshops focusing on what are the barriers that are out there right now and what are, again, the solutions, because it's all about the solutions. And they will be sharing their findings. They'll be developing a corporate change model from this work that they're doing, and a video, because it's all about the video and social media, right? But a video to be able to actually promote an inclusive workforce with the ultimate goal of improving workplace diversity in the supply chain, logistics, and transportation sectors. So funding for this was made possible through the Labor Program's new Workplace, it's a mouthful, Workplace Opportunities Removing Barriers to Equity program. You got that? We were trying to decide what the acronym was, and then we decided, no, we're not going to even go there. But it's a new grant program that is specifically designed to support employers in the federal jurisdiction in their efforts to be able to improve their representation through partnerships of these diverse groups. And we created this Workplace Opportunities program because underrepresentation persists in a number of occupational groups and sectors, and we really realize we have to do something about it. So we're going to go out there, look for best practices, and share them through the industry. This is one way that your government, with your tax dollars, is actually using them to meet the needs of Canada's increasingly diverse population. And as Linda said, this is a way of really maximizing our talent base, right? And it really links well with Minister Leitch's responsibilities in both labor and status of women. And she's a phenomenal representative herself. She grew up in Fort McMurray. She represents a Toronto riding now, but she grew up in Fort McMurray. She's an orthopedic surgeon, orthopedic pediatric surgeon. She has her MBA. She works on the Human Genome Project. I mean, she is just a one-woman whirlwind. And she's very passionate about this project and about this endeavor that we're doing to be able to provide more opportunities for women to really succeed in non-traditional sectors. And I wanted to just mention that we have, as a federal government, put $54 million of your tax dollars into promoting women's economic security and prosperity. And I really like it because a lot of these programs are going toward opportunities for women who want to be able to get out there and to grab them. So another interesting program that we're doing is Women in Skilled Trades. So this is a skilled trade, but an advancement of that, and getting more women on corporate boards. Again, because companies who have more women on corporate boards make more money. That's the bottom line. So I think I'll wrap up here now, but I did want to tell you we've just finished a really interesting study on women in leadership on the Status of Women Committee, on which I sit. And it was interesting what we heard about the things that help women advance in the workplace. And I'm sure that Peter and their steering committee will come up with an even wider array. But we heard from some companies like Lululemon, for example, and they do things such as they do personalized scheduling. So people have a little bit more flexibility with their schedules. They have on-site childcare facilities, which is probably not much of a surprise. Family-related leaves, and it's as important to have leaves for men as it is for women, because when you only have them for women, you treat women as though they're the only the people responsible for childcare. And in an inclusive society, everybody's responsible for childcare. And the other interesting thing that we heard from them is that they don't schedule any important corporate meetings after 4 p.m. because women tend to have responsibilities, and that makes it very difficult for them to be able to work at that level. So we've set some ambitious goals. We're urging business leaders from the public and private sectors to look at the suggested targets that we're setting out there. We want to see women attain 30% of all board positions over the next 5 years. So I'm going to conclude just by saying our government is really committed and really believes that you have the right to work in an environment where your opportunities are based solely on your skills and your abilities. And employers do have a responsibility to give equal access employment opportunities to all people. So we really believe that this will enhance Canada's prosperity, the well-beings of our workforce, and the well-beings of their families. And every one of us has a role to play. From human resources specialists to business planning experts, we all have a duty to create workforces that are inclusive. Together with this effort, we really believe that we can achieve great things. We can achieve a richness in our workplaces that all businesses and individuals will benefit from. So ladies, start your engines.